How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over tips and tricks for beginners. This is going to be tips and tricks for honestly anybody that's been playing the game, because there's lots of things that you might not have known even if you've been playing the game since it came out. Excluding today, obviously, that downtime was crazy. But anyways, so I'm going to be going over everything that there is that you need to know when you first hop into the first Descendant, and let's just get straight to it. So first of all, if you drop down here, alright, it's a little bit of a shortcut, so if we go back a little bit, where you go down, where you go to your modding, or where you go to NIEs to craft your parts and such, you come over here to the left to this little robot right here, the storage box. Now I know it's right in your face, but a lot of people don't know that you can actually store items in here. So if you look here, the reason you'd want to store items would be for mainly one reason, is that you have a weapon that you really like to roll on for some reason, and you want to save it till you upgrade it way later in the game. Right? So it's just a quick little tip. You go to it, you click on your inventory, and you can store whatever weapon, whether it be your favorite weapon, your reactor, your modules, or not modules, excuse me, your external components. You can store all of it in your storage. Okay? So again, the main reason for this would be if you have a really good weapon, or like a weapon that you've been using, you really like the roll, and you just don't want to get rid of it to dismantle it. Talking about dismantling, if you open your inventory, and you go down to the bottom left, you see filter all as junk. Now if you click on this, it brings us to this filter all as junk tab. So what you can do is you can set the weapon tier, rare tier and lower, common tier and lower. So these are the two options that you have. In the weapon level, you can set to whatever it is you like. Now the way you would use this is you'd probably set it to rare tier and lower, or you could do common tier and lower if you want to be really safe. And then you set the weapon level to around the level you're at. So you want the weapons that are dropping to be relative to the level that you are, because they get outscaled so fast in this game. The only reason you would keep certain rolls, again, like I said, is if you really like that roll in particular and you want to upgrade it later. But that'd be much later down the road when you are at end game. So you would set it to, for me, I'm around level 40. So I don't know my exact level. I'd go check, say you're level 38, set it to level 38. Set it to common tier and lower if you want to be really safe. Weapon with enhanced unique abilities, you can include or exclude, probably leave it on exclude, and then you would apply. Now you can also do this with reactors. Same thing goes, you would want to keep your reactors around the same level because the scaling gets pretty crazy. Just a couple levels can boost, like make a big jump in the boost that you get, and I can go over that here in a minute. But external components, now this is one where it would be a little different. So again, we'll jump into that right now, actually. Now that you notice a filter. Now over to the reactors here. As you can see, I have a level 43 reactor in right now, and it comes with an optimization condition. So all of these reactors come with optimization conditions along with skill power boost ratios, and the goal here for these is as you're leveling and getting into the end game, these are going to be changing so fast because you're going to be leveling up, you're going to be getting higher level ones so rapidly that they're kind of going to get junked, okay? So just because you have an optimization condition that matches and a skill power boost ratio that matches doesn't necessarily mean that that is going to be the one that you're going to keep. This is a great one I have. I have 5.6% sub attack power and 20.9% skill critical hit rate, a great roll for attack power damage. But if I look down here at this level 10, that comes with Thunder Cage mounting, which gives me 160% skill power because I have a Thunder Cage, which is an ultimate weapon, but the skills are nowhere near as powerful as the level 40. Now I know this is a big jump, but it applies to all of the levels for these reactors. So if this was a level 30, it still would not be as much as the level 43. Obviously there's rare cases where, again, this is 160% skill power because I'm using the ultimate condition, optimization condition, right? But point is, as you're leveling up, you're going to keep changing these, so there isn't really too much of a reason to hold on to them early game. Once you start getting into the end game, then you can start holding on to some of these, but that's not going to be for a very long time. So you're kind of going to be flying through these, and you're going to be looking for these secondary skills, if you want to call them, at the bottom, or secondary bonuses, I guess you could say. Again, like I said, at the very bottom, sub attack power and skill critical hit rate. You can get lots of different rolls on these. Skill critical hit damage, skill cooldown, electric skill power boost ratio, skill effect. These also are very nice to have, and even though they seem like a negligible boost, so if you look at 0.037x, you're like, what is that? You know, what does that do for me? But it really is 3.7%. Okay, so it goes off a percent base. So 0.037 is 3.7%. So you get 3.7% electric skill power boost ratio. And on the one I'm currently running, I'm getting 5.6, 20.9%. Thankfully, they showed it to us. But another one would be singular skill power boost ratio, 0.047. That's a 4.7% singular skill power boost ratio. So make sure you keep that in mind when you're looking at these. Then we go down to the external components where they differ a little. The level does not always correlate to the amount that you get. I don't have any great examples because I've been deleting a lot of them, but let's say this level 44 max HP. So this is a HP support auxiliary power. I get 200 max HP. If I was to come here and say this level 43, this level 22, okay? For some reason, this might give me more max HP than this. It doesn't in this case, but it can happen. There would be no harm in running this level 22, especially with like a set or so, if that's what you're trying to go for. Now, if you look though, there is those modifiers that we talked about. So on the level 44 one that I have equipped, I have a 9.9% module drop rate increase and a 9.5% Cooper shard drop rate increase. Then on this one, I have the shield recovery out of combat, the max MP, the Eceive or Eceive, I don't know exactly how you say it, I say Eceive, but Eceive search radius increase modifier, the shield recovery in combat, item acquisition distance, and the display time. So I'm basically running these for the bonuses that you get that are displayed at the bottom of these Reactor or external components, excuse me. So for these, again, they play a little differently than weapons and reactors that are going to be chasing your level constantly as you go through. So just keep that in mind, look out for these, look for these perks, and they do make a very big difference, even though they may seem very negligible. And that brings me into the next tip, over here by our boy Descendant, the weapon vendor. Okay, actually we'll show him real quick. Now you are able to sell your equipment for gold. If gold is where you're struggling, which you shouldn't most of the time, you can sell things to him instead of scrapping it. However, I would highly recommend that you scrap everything in the beginning. Try not to sell because gold should not be much of an issue, especially with a lot of the boosts we're getting because of the downtime we experienced today and some of the issues with the launch. Gold should not be an issue, but the materials are, you always need materials, especially in this game. So if you go to this workbench over here behind Descendant, open it up, go to weapon level transmission. Let's say that you have a weapon that you really, really enjoy. Unfortunately, all of my main weapons are leveled up so far. But let's say you really like the Sigvor's Proof or the Nazestra's Devotion. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I apologize for that. But let's say you really like the Sigvor's Proof and you're like, dang, 21, I'm level 30 now, level 35, this just isn't going to cut it, but I really like this weapon, I want to use it. Well, you go to the weapon transmission again, you click on Sigvor's Proof, and then you find the highest level for me right here, Supermoon Z15. Then I click on the highest level, or whatever level I want to transmit it to, and now you see it would cost me 1 precision phase exchanger, which costs 250 liquid metal to craft. It is fairly expensive, so make sure you're upgrading only when you need to. Don't do it for 1 level or 2. Make sure it's a pretty decent jump in level, because this does take time to craft, and again, it is fairly expensive. So you look at it, you go to weapon level transmission, you long press to execute, and as you see it's doing some animation on the sniper. It would eat this sniper into my Sigvor's Proof launcher, and now this would be level 46, and it would get the boost as it should. As you see, the explosive attack would be increased by 15,691, and the DPS would go up drastically. No perks would change, but I would get that explosive attack, that damage increase, to match the level that I currently am, or whatever I leveled it up to. So that's a way to keep your favorite guns in rotation, even if they're getting out-leveled. And if you go to weapon readjustment, which is right under weapon level transmission, under the same thing, let's say I'm sitting here, and we're going to talk about the ultimate first. So ultimate weapons require a different material. It's a fine adjustment control axis. Much more expensive. Again, there's this liquid metal I was telling you about. This is also acquired from dismantling weapons and such. So craft these with liquid metal. And what this does, this allows you to change the perks, or to roll one time all of these perks. Or let's say I really like firearm critical hit damage and I really like chill attack. if you left click on them with the mouse or just interact with them, you see I can lock them, but it cost me 25,000. Unlocked, it only cost me 5,000. Obviously, this is very worth doing, right? You're like, oh, only 25,000 gold. Well, here's what you're not looking at: the readjustment materials. So now this takes me 5 of my readjustment materials. Locking 1 takes me 2 of my readjustment materials, and not locking anything only costs me 1. So the benefits of locking it are obviously very good. If there is an insane perk roll that you got on it and you just do not want to change it, it's worth spending that extra adjustment control axis to keep that perk locked on. Okay. Now, I'm not going to re-roll my order or my Thunder Cage, excuse me, because I do like the roll on it for now. But we can go to, let's go to the Sigvor's Proof. Okay. Not very good. None of this is very good. Explosive attack, but they're just, no big deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to readjust 5,000 gold, 1 fine adjustment. And as you see, I get all new perks given to me. Now, you're not always going to get something good. You obviously might get not very good stuff. This isn't horrible at first glance, but I don't have time to look at that right now. But that's how you would readjust the rolls on your ultimate weapons. Now, the same thing goes for your non-ultimate weapons. So if you're just using a rare, you see it costs a adjustment control axis, not a fine one. Okay, so it's much cheaper to craft. It costs 340 super alloy, much more common resource, and you would use those instead of the fine ones. And the same thing applies. You can lock as much as you want. It goes up with every lock, and you do it exactly the same way. So if you want to reroll your weapons, it's an amazing way to kind of bring a weapon that's a high level but really bad roll and keep it into your rotation. While we're here, we might as well go over the enhanced unique ability. Basically, you take a Thunder Cage. If I had another Thunder Cage, I would consume that Thunder Cage into this Thunder Cage, which would then overcharge, no pun intended, or no coincidence, whatever you want to call it. While we're here, we might as well talk about the enhanced unique ability. So obviously you can only do this with ultimate weapons or unique ability weapons. Now what I would do is I take this Thunder Cage here. If I had another Thunder Cage, if you see down here where it says overcharge, it has 4 bars, none are filled. If I had another Thunder Cage that I acquired, what I would do is I would go right here and I would click my Thunder Cage right there. Okay, or it'd be right here. So I click this Thunder Cage, and essentially I would consume that Thunder Cage into this Thunder Cage, which would then give it 1 tick on that bar, and it would increase the ultimate perk. It would increase its efficiency or its effectiveness by consuming that other ultimate weapon of the same type. So that's how you would increase all of your ultimate weapons abilities, or their signature abilities, unique abilities. And Reactor enhancement. What you could do here is if you have a Reactor you really like, if you see you enhanced it, it brings up the skill power, the base skill power. This is going to be more for in-game stuff. For right now, as you're leveling up, you're definitely going to get more and more of these. So don't really focus too much on that because it is a very expensive. So you need 3 precise ion accelerators. They cost 650 superconductors. It's a lot of materials, okay? So just for right now, as you're leveling up, until you get into the late end game, don't worry too much about using this. But it is there as an option. And next, what we're going to talk about for materials, or relating to materials, and this is one of the most important things in games like this, and I have a lot of experience coming from games like Warframe, Destiny, etc. ABC. Also, look, I got distracted. ABC. Always be crafting. Okay? Always be crafting. So there's materials that you acquire from running through missions, doing your open worlds, doing your events and such. And when you come over here to Anais, you can craft Descendant material, weapon material, and enhancement material. Now here's these precision phase exchanges we went over, and these fine adjustment control axes we went over as well. So you always want to have these crafting, because especially when you're going to be, for instance, if you're upgrading a lot of weapons, you're going to need these exchangers. If you're adjusting the perks on weapons, you're going to need these control axes. So what you do, click on it, long press for research request. It takes 20 minutes to craft. Now, the reason you're always crafting, you want to always be crafting in this game, is because of how long it takes here for this to craft. You don't want to need a phase exchanger, right? This is a quick one. It's only 10 minutes, but you don't want to need a fine adjustment control axis, right? Research it, and then you have to wait an hour to use the gun that you wanted to use. If you were always crafting, right, you would always have it available to you. So it's very good to always be crafting. Okay, make sure that's always be crafting. All right, can't say it enough times. It's very important if you want to make your life easier and just you'll have everything as you need it. Okay, and then we're going to talk about mastery level. So a lot of people don't know. They're like, mastery level, there's XP on it, I just level up. Yes, leveling up Descendants does increase your mastery rank. However, I'm only mastery rank level 8. I've been focusing a lot on Volby and goods loadout, which I made on this channel as well, if you want to go check out the in-depth beginner guide for Volby. But for mastery rank, if you look at your weapons, so you look at the bottom here underneath my module, I have weapon level, or proficiency level 25 rather. So this is basically how much I use the gun. And for mastery rank, not only does your Descendant level play into mastery rank, but your weapon level, or your proficiency level, I should say, on your weapons also plays into your mastery rank. So proficiency level 9 for my hand cannon, proficiency level 1 for this particular sniper. Now, it doesn't go based off weapon type, it's actually the weapon itself. So immediate execution, I've never used a different dream, I just got the different dream, right? So I've never even killed anything with this sniper. So what I'd want to do is I want to go and I want to kill enemies and just use this weapon throughout content to increase the proficiency level, which would then translate into mastery rank. Now, mastery rank is huge. Mastery rank is huge. It's going to be very big in endgame as well. You don't want to fall behind in mastery rank, so you want to make sure that you're constantly doing, like leveling up these proficiencies on these other weapons and these leveling up these other Descendants. Don't just max out one and be like, oh, I'm level 40, I'm just going to stick with this forever. Although I think you should have fun on the game, it is very important to keep up in this mastery rank because towards endgame content is going to make a big difference. As you can see, you get capacity to your Descendant module, capacity to your weapon module, 2 inventory slots, 2 storage slots, 10 consumable inventories, and this just tells you the inventory limit for your shape stabilizers. Okay, so you want to go through all of these mastery ranks, and as you can see, there's quite a few. Okay, there's quite a few mastery ranks. So, always be leveling up your weapons, always trying out different weapons. When you finish a Descendant, make sure you go to another one. Alright? Make sure you go to another one, level them up. You want to have other Descendants as well because it's going to matter in content where sometimes you just won't be able to use Volby. Volby's my favorite, and I love Volby, but sometimes I will need to take her off because she just won't be optimal in a situation. Now, moving on from mastery level. Oh. Real quick, one more thing I wanted to point out. If you go into your map, okay, and you go to something like the Sterile Land, if you look around and you hover over these missions tell you what items drop from doing these missions. So you see you got a Gladiator, you have a 1.5 chance of getting that mod, the Edging Shot, that's a great name for a mod, Brisk Walk, Slow Wire, etc. Every mission, if you hover over it, it'll show you what you get or what you could possibly get from doing that mission. Now, each mission gives you a mastery bonus, so a mastery XP bonus the first time you complete it. Now, this also goes for open world stuff such as the Zone Recon mission, Rockfall, and then these Void missions, Void Fusion Reactors. So if you go over to these Void Fusion Reactors, for instance, if you look at this Void mission, Void Fragment, you're going to go over here and it's going to require you to use a specific element or a specific Descendant to break it. Okay, I don't know exactly which one. So this one is electric. So destructible only by skill. So what you would do is you grab Bunny, you would go over to this Void mission or this Void Fragment, and you would use an electric ability to break the pillar. It'd be very noticeable, and then you kill a wave of ads, a bunch of wave ads, about 46 I think it is, and then you would destroy it again with your abilities, basically until you destroy the pillar completely, and then you're gonna get these materials that are going to allow you right here. Monomer Shard or Void Shard, Inorganic Void Shard, and Solenoid. Now, only the Descendant matching the correct skill or skill type, so electric here, Bunny. Let's say if you're in a group with friends, they all need to be on Bunny if they want to get the extra materials. That's my experience so far with it. Anyways, that may be changed in the future, but you do need to be on the correct type to get the extra rewards. And you use those materials to launch up Void Mission, Void Fusion Reactor, Sterile Land Repository. So you're going to go fight a boss, and then you're going to get a chance at all of these good rewards here. Along with these good rewards, you're going to get that mastery rank boost that I was telling you about for completing it for the first time. You need 11 monomer void shards, and you need 4 inorganic void shards. It's very great. And again, if you hover over any mission in the map, on any land, it will tell you where you can get all of these items you're looking for. So if you're looking for something and you just can't seem to find where you're looking for by Googling it or looking it up on a video, just hover over these missions. They all tell you what it is. The more rare it is, it's going to be at the top. So if you're looking for something rare, it will be up there. Another quick tip for Anais, if you're running low on materials and you really just don't know where to get materials, let's say you needed to make more, let's go to something that uses multiple materials. Let's try a Descendant. Say you wanted to make the glaze stabilizer. Right now, look at me, I have 0 flectorite. And like, well, I don't know where to get this. It's not dropping. So what you do is you press F on your keyboard or whatever the corresponding is on your controller, and it tells me that I need to go to White Knight Gulch on hard and open resource boxes, normal resource boxes, munitions, and munitions. So White Knight Gulch is where I'm going to want to go if I want to start to build clay. And this does this for every material in the game. Just a quick tip. So if you ever are just wondering where to get something, this tells you exactly where you got to go to get it and where you have been to get it previously. This is going to be my last tip for this video. I don't want to keep it too long. I do want you guys to get back in there, get playing. I know this is the longer video. So let's come over to Cillian here. Cillian, I'm not sure how you say his name. Open it. So you have 3 options. You have Enhance Module, Dismantle Module, and Combine Module. Now, Combine Module comes in Mastery Rank 9 much later. See, I don't have it unlocked yet. But you'll get to that later, and I will make a video covering that because modding is going to be very important in the first Descendant. So I will make an in-depth modding guide for anybody that wants to know how to mod their Descendants or their weapons, etc. So, Enhance Module, as you see here, you have a module capacity. If you look at the top right, top middle I should say, I have 45 out of 55 right now on my Volby. Now, this costs 10. Transcendence costs 10. Usually it costs 14. I leveled it up 4 times. As you level up Transcendent mods, so it costs 10 now, but if I level it up one more time, as you can see, so let's enhance it. I'll do it here. Now my capacity costs 9 instead of 10. You see? This is unique to Transcendent mods, and this is how that works. And another unique mod is your melee. So you see my shock punch here is what I'm using on Volby. If you equip any melee into your melee slot, you slot it in, and you increase the level of it, as you see here, my max capacity goes up with every time I enhance my melee ability. And this goes for all the melee abilities in that slot. So if I was to spend this materials and upgrade it to 8, I would get 56 just for upgrading. You see that by the green translated here and the up arrow here. So the Transcendent mods and the normal melee mods are unique in that way. Now, as for your other mods, okay, you want to go through and you want to level them up. As you can see here, you're like, maybe you notice that this is green, this number is green, excuse me, and the number here is green for the Malachite, and I don't remember exactly what the Rutile, it says it right there. The Malachite and the Rutile, okay. So the reason these are green is because I matched these shapes, or these types, to the symbol that is on my Descendant, and I'll show you that when we get out of this menu. But these are not matched, which is why these cost so much. So if you're using a mod that is leveled up, like my skill expansion is, you want to put this one instead of the maximized duration into this slot because it cuts it in half. So this would usually cost 12, now it only costs 6. This would also usually cost 12, and it now only costs 6 or 11. It used to cost 11, now it costs 6. So essentially cuts it in half when you match the mod socket type or the module socket type. So you want to be doing that wherever you can, especially for the higher level mods. Okay, so if we back out here, and that goes for weapon mods as well. If you back out here and you go to your Descendant module, okay, so if I move these, you see my module capacity is at 49 out of 55 now. And that's just because I moved the non-attribute specialist out of its Malachite type. So it's normally 11, I put it in here, now it's 6. And then, if you look over your skill expansion, you see how it shows the correct type. You want to match those up whenever you can. Now another thing you can do, besides upgrading your melee, which goes into your, so you can only be slotted into here, to get more capacity, is you can go to module additional settings, max capacity up, save changes. So this costs an energy activator. Now this is very expensive, very expensive. This is only for when you're at the ultimate end game and you have all of your mods maxed out for your Descendant and there's just nothing else you can do. But this is another way to drastically boost from 55 to 75 the amount of mod space that you can put. So keep that in mind. And then we go back over here to Cillian. The next thing is dismantle modules. Now, one thing I would recommend for the mods you use a lot, or any mods in the game, is you level up each mod you have, only one of them, to +1. And the reason I say that is because when you're going through and you're looking at these mods, right, these are like, oh, they're all different. But look right here. See, this is a great one, for instance. I have another regenerative braking. So I have 2 regenerative brakings for Lepic. Now, what you want to do with those after you go to this dismantle module is you want to left click on it with your mouse or whatever your controller. And you see I can dismantle this for 4,500 Gorper shards. Dismantling is very good for currency. Now, what I do is I sort by tier. Okay, I find it the easiest because what you can do is you scroll all the way down and you see all of these lower tiers are going to be grouped together. You only need one of each mod type or one of each mod. So, for instance, I have a technician on my Volby. I can get rid of this technician and I can still use technician on all of my other Descendants. No problem. So you only need one of each of the mods. So what you want to do is you want to go through and select all of these that you have extras in. Okay, I'm not going to go through all mine right now, but you want to go through all these, selecting all of them, leaving one of each of the mods. And again, if you leveled one up to level 1, you would see very clearly which ones, are the ones you want to keep. But if not, you can go through like this, and you can just click on the ones that you want to get rid of. And then when you've gone through and got rid of all your duplicates, and you keep one of each, you go dismantle, continue, and now I just got 7,800 shards towards upgrading my other mods, just like that. And there's probably so much more I could have got by going through all of this, and especially if you've been playing the game and haven't been doing this, you're going to get a big bulk of these shards, and it's going to be really nice. You're going to have a lot of upgrading material. And for now, that's going to be everything for this video. There's not much more for me to cover. If there is any questions you have, the comment section is always open. I also might be live streaming over on Twitch, twitch.tv/EEFANN. So stop by, ask any questions you like. Maybe you'll learn something new from watching this stream. And yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching as always. Thanks again. Also, I wanted to address real quick at the end of the video instead of the beginning, so I didn't waste people's time. I do know that my mic was very low on my last video, and I apologize for that. The in-depth Volby beginner guide. I did obviously work on it for this video, so hopefully everything's solved, and I do apologize for that very much. But hopefully I see you guys back on the channel. If you like what you see, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.